It's Saturday, June 25th, and I wanted to talk about something practical, support systems, trellises, etc. in the garden. It's really important to have them if you want to save space, if you want to grow certain plants like pole beans that really need support. They're just super useful, and there's another reason that it's great to grow them is to provide some shade. So where I'm standing right now, we pretty much get sun from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening, and coming out here can be pretty unpleasant in the middle of the day. But I have some pole beans coming up, and you can see that once they get a little bit higher, there's going to be some nice shade. There's going to be a nice little spot there to catch some shade. There's another spot where they're coming up, and I'm just going to talk briefly about how easy this is and how I've done it here in the garden. I'm going to start with the simplest support over here, which I just put in a week or two ago, and it's already covered by these green beans. And what it is just, you can just see it's two thin metal rods. They're made for this purpose. But I took two of them, stuck them in a slight angle, and so they crossed at the top. And then I tied them where they crossed to give a little bit more support. And you can see that these green beans, which are volunteers, that's why they were growing here without any support at all. I didn't plan it, but just sticking those stakes in gave them some great support. They took right off. Here's one that's a little bit more elaborate, but still free basically to make and very easy. It's 6 hazel rods. I just cut them to length. I cut one end at an angle so it was easier to stick down in the ground. I drilled holes in the top. It's hard to see, but then I threaded a twine through and tied them to keep them stable and just put them in this position. You don't have to use hazel. I grow it here on the farm, so it's readily available, but you can use anything, any old wood, from any tree you need to trim, something you have laying around. It's not meant to last forever. It'll last a few years, and then I can throw this in the woods and make another one. And over here is probably the most elaborate one. It's 6 locus posts set in parallel lines and 2 cattle panels. And I put the posts in the ground, and then I took the cattle panels, laid them out flat. I tied some twine to one end and then pulled it to the other end and tied it, so I basically had them in the proper shape before I put them up here. And then I secured them with poultry staples. A lot of them have popped out, but you can see right there. Just pounded that in. And they've been here for several years, and they will last a really long time. And there you go. Something practical for a change.